Hi, and welcome back to Football Made Simple. Two title favourites faced off in the Premier League when Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool hosted Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea. Both sides came into this with a perfect record, prepping us for a hot battle. And in the end, the game finished 1-1 thanks to Kai Havertz and a Salah penalty. Liverpool had a much higher XG, but the XG time map also shows that till the sending off, the game was fairly even. But what tactics did Klopp and Tuchel use? Let's take a look. And this is how both teams lined up. Klopp sticking to his trusty 4-3-3 and Tuchel to his 5-2-3, as you can see courtesy of our wonderful video sponsor, the OneFootball app. To get formations like this for your favorite team, you can download the OneFootball app completely free for Android and iOS through the link in the description below. You'll also be able to easily access stats, news and more for your favorite teams and players. Let's begin with Liverpool in possession, as they dominated the ball even before the sending off. When Liverpool had a goal kick, it was one of the few times that Chelsea were willing to press high. Van Dijk and Matip dropped alongside Alisson to create a 3, whilst Trent and Robertson pushed right up and pinned the wing-backs deep. So once the ball was live, the front three could press, and if a fullback now tried to provide an option, they would be tracked. And in these scenarios, Jorginho and Kanté would pick up the pivot, cutting off the central options as well, making progression difficult. But in open play, Chelsea's defensive plans were completely different, even before their sending off. Rather than press high, they usually sat in a low to mid block. And usually when facing a back two, Chelsea defend with a front two of Havertz and Lukaku, with Mount deeper to create more of a 3-1-2-2, with the centre heavily fortified. And we saw this occasionally in this match, but the difference with Liverpool is Firmino. So where usually Mount dropping deeper makes it a man-to-man in a 4-3-3, Firmino can operate as a spare midfielder, essentially, so Liverpool would now have the man advantage. This means it would now be Fabinho who would be easily free to drop and receive, and take two men out of the game, which we did see at times. So, Tuchel instead kept his front three in their flatter format, and had them sitting deeper, compacting the space between them and the double pivot, so now it was almost a midfield 5, allowing them to maintain the defensive numerical advantage. And with the centre taken, Liverpool were happy to take advantage of the wide regions, aided by their marauding fullbacks in Trent and Robertson. Trent and Robertson could look to provide easy options for the centre-backs to play short passes to, and this would often draw James and Alonso higher. At the same time, Salah and Mane could hold the width, and Rudiger and Azpilicueta liked to stay tight to their men, even when they moved wider on the pitch. And this could lead to the back three shape being manipulated or being too wide. And down the left, Mane could also drop deeper to create space in behind. And with the Liverpool centre-backs having time on the ball, they could look for decisive passes, and Van Dijk was often looking to switch it to Salah, and he would have Rudiger 1 versus 1. And Harvey Elliott's role was important, as he had much more freedom, so he could cause overloads down the right-hand side by overlapping Salah. But Rudiger being dragged wide also meant that there was now space in the half space that a man could move into. Down the left-hand side, a third-man runner could move into the space created when Mane had drawn Azpilicueta deeper. When Chelsea went a man down, they switched to a 5-3-1 that was deep and compact. The defensive key was keeping the centre, particularly zone 14, heavily occupied to limit Liverpool's ability to create from here, and as a result, Liverpool were often limited to shots from range. And when they did go wide, Chelsea now had 3 imposing centre-backs who would be difficult to beat in the air, with Liverpool's front 3. But what happened when Chelsea were on the ball? From the goal kick, Chelsea maintained their usual shape, splitting their back 3 deep with a right side bias thanks to Azpilicueta, whilst both wing-backs pushed high. Having an extra man down the right-hand side, Chelsea would often choose to build down that region, and Liverpool's front 3 were looking to press the centre-backs man-to-man, meaning that the wing-backs would initially be the free option. And Liverpool could then press in different ways, as Henderson could come across from midfield to cover him, whilst Robertson remained deeper on defensive duties. At the same time, Robertson could push higher up with the rest of the back 4 shifting across to cover. Under this consistent pressure, Chelsea were often forced into longer balls, looking for Lukaku making the run. Liverpool's pressing was generally extremely successful, ending with a passes per defensive action of under 8. In open play, we saw Liverpool adopt similar principles. Usually, a key element for Chelsea is being able to use a wide back 3 with high wing backs, allowing them to shift the ball quickly to either side of the pitch. Liverpool took that weapon away, as initially the front 3 would be deep, and when Christensen got the ball, Firmino would spring forwards. With Conte and Jorginho covered, he would be forced to go either left or right. And with Firmino covering the route back infield, Chelsea could only effectively play down one half of the pitch, and the Liverpool winger, fullback and midfield would compress the pitch. On a couple of rare occasions, Chelsea were able to break the press by switching the ball to the opposite side. But for the most part, they dispossessed Chelsea, forcing the ball out of play. And because from throw-ins it is impossible to switch, Liverpool contracted their press even more, and from the Chelsea throw would usually win the ball back and look to transition through Salah, who would now be central. Overall, it was a tightly contested encounter, and Chelsea did well to hold on for the draw despite consistent pressure. It's a point that both teams won't mind too much, but I want to know what you thought of this match down below. What else did you notice? What could both managers have done differently? A quick shout out to my Patreons for helping to make this video possible. If you want to support, head on over to patreon.com/footballmadesimple and you'll get rewards like early access to videos and exclusive content. And a special thanks to my patrons, including Adidev Guru, Igor Milijevic, and Yusuf Halim McFlurry. But that's all for today, and remember, keep it simple.